April ging das Thema zwischen Tanzverbot, Lola und Adam komplett durch die Decke. In einem Comeback-Video von Tanzverbot hat der nämlich gedroppt, dass Lola mit Adam mehrmals fremdgegangen sein soll. Nach zwei eher mäßigen Statements von Adam und dem kompletten Verschwinden von Lola hat sich das Thema jetzt eigentlich in den letzten Wochen wieder beruhigt. Allerdings hat Adam jetzt gestern in einem Livestream nochmal über das ganze Thema gesprochen und auch wenn er eher oberflächlich geblieben ist, sind da dennoch einige interessante Informationen drin. Irgend so ein Zuschauer ist nämlich während dem Livestream zu ihm gekommen und hat dann folgende Frage gestellt.
Hallo Adam.
Hi, wie geht's?
Alles klar?
Ja. Und
Alles
selbst?
gut? Ja, auch.
Ich mache jetzt Großeinkauf.
Ja, bist du live?
Ja.
Oh. Hattest du was im Cola? Stimmt das?
Aber warum fragst du dann, ob wir live sind, wenn du dann trotzdem fragst?
Stimmt das oder stimmt das?
Also das ist ja dann die sinnfreiste Frage überhaupt.
Nein. Interessiert dort auch dein Chat wahrscheinlich.
Was ist denn was mit Lola? Digga, es ist halt wirklich so unangenehm, da erstmal so hinzugehen. Streamst du? Die Frage dann trotzdem zu stellen, Digga, dann stell sie doch einfach. Und ja, Adam hat mit seiner Antwort auch komplett recht.
Ja, aber es wurde auch vieles, was anderes, was du nicht gesagt jetzt hast.
Und du meinst, du bist jetzt die erste Person, auf die ich dann direkt antworte mit einem ausführlichen neuen Statement?
Ja.
Das
Ja.
kommt einfach weiter.
Das Lustige ist, dass sie dann echt so ein kurzes Gespräch haben und Adam versucht, das Ganze zu erklären und der Typ geht dann einfach irgendwann weg.
Wusste ich am Anfang auch nicht. Am Anfang habe ich auch gedacht, okay, da,
Das ist das Wichtigste.
ja, weißt du, am Anfang gab es so,
Viel Spaß auf dem Dokument.
oh, du willst es gar nicht mehr hören.
Nee,
Okay,
alles gut.
bis dann, ciao.
Jo, ciao.
Es gab am
Ey, ja, Bro, alles gut, juckt mich eigentlich auch gar nicht. Oh, Chat, haut mal rein, ne? Skr, skr, skr. Allerdings haben sie vorher tatsächlich ein paar Sätze austauschen können und in einem Punkt kann ich Adam auf jeden Fall komplett nachvollziehen.
dafür zu sorgen, dass unbedingt jeder einem glaubt, indem man dann auch noch selbst anfängt, auf genau diesen Zug aufzuspringen, Screenshot zu veröffentlichen und so weiter.
Ja, das ist
nur
bodenlos,
damit
das ist
man
100%, da gebe ich dir
genau,
vollkommen recht.
aber was
Aber
hätte
warum
man
wird
für eine
das denn in
andere
der
Wahl?
Öffentlichkeit denn reingezogen? Das ist die Frage.
Das musst du dann ihn fragen und nicht mich.
Bist du auch hier?
Nee.
Ist Tanzverbot auch da? Wo ist er? Ich spreche auch Tanzverbot an. Wir wissen ja nicht, was wirklich passiert ist. Und es gibt natürlich auch die Möglichkeit, dass Adam eventuell einige Chatverläufe hat, die beweisen, dass Lola einfach Tanzverbot angelogen hatte. Will man auf dieses Level gehen? Naja, es kommt halt drauf an. Möchtest du glaubwürdig sein oder möchtest du, dass vielleicht einige Leute dir jetzt nicht mehr folgen, weil sie denken, dass du diese Dinge getan hast, obwohl das gar nicht der Fall ist? Zu seinem Statement-Video sagt er später in diesem Stream auch noch Folgendes.
Also entweder komplett alles auf den Tisch oder machen wie sie und untertauchen. Ja, das hat mich schon bei diesem Waldstatement genervt. So, ja, das ist ja nur was Halbes, bla bla bla. Ja, deal with it.
Und naja, Bro, also um ehrlich zu sein, bist du ja derjenige, der damit dealen muss. Immerhin wirst du damit angesprochen, du bekommst Nachrichten und du hast den Image-Schaden dadurch. Dieses Thema schwebt jetzt halt einfach über dir wie US-Drohnen über afghanischen Kindern. Davor im Stream hat er noch das hier gesagt.
Kann man so sagen.
Ja, weißt du, wenn ich mich da rein... Weil am Ende wird einem nicht geglaubt. Weil es geht im Internet gar nicht darum, ob jemand einen glaubt oder ob man das realistisch darstellt oder sonst was, weil...
Und ja doch, Bro, eigentlich geht es einzig und alleine genau darum. Du hast ein Statement im Wald aufgenommen, welches du erst 2 Wochen später hochgeladen hast. Dadurch waren ja viele der Informationen gar nicht mehr aktuell und auf manche Dinge konntest du dadurch ja überhaupt nicht eingehen. Dazu hast du im Vergleich zu deinem ersten Statement ja auch einige Widersprüche drin. Deine Ausrede war erst folgende.
Sie hat mir und anderen Leuten, die ich kenne, damals gesagt, sie wäre Single. Und ja, inzwischen kam heraus, dass sie auch anderen gegenüber gelogen hat.
Du sagst also, du hattest nichts mit Lola, weil du dich ja generell nicht an vergebene Frauen ranmachen würdest. In deinem Statement im Wald hieß es allerdings dann, dass Lola dir ja gesagt hat, dass sie Single gewesen ist.
Und ich würde so etwas, vor allen Dingen, und das ist das Allerwichtigste bei dieser ganzen Geschichte, ich würde niemals was mit einer Frau starten, von der ich weiß, dass sie in einer Beziehung ist.
Wenn sie aber sowieso sagt, dass sie Single war, dann zählt deine Ausrede mit dem ich mache mich an vergebene Frauen nicht ran ja überhaupt nicht, weil für dich war sie ja Single und nicht vergeben. Und sowas nagt halt komplett an der Glaubwürdigkeit. Vollkommen egal, ob du vielleicht tatsächlich nichts gemacht hast, wirkt es halt so, als wolle man da so ein bisschen was verschleiern. Aber er hat auch interessante Aussagen gebracht, wie zum Beispiel das hier.
Dass wir uns dann nach einem Bootsevent getroffen haben. So, und dann recherchierst du weiter, dann hörst du weiter von Leuten, nee, hat sich da und da getroffen. Und denkst dir, ja, scheiße. So, für diese Scheiße musst du halt herhalten. Das ärgert mich halt so. Aber was willst du halt machen? Oder dass sie wenigstens nicht anfängt, wegen irgendwelchen Treffen mit anderen, dass sie wenigstens nicht irgendwie so sich denkt, ja okay, Adam kann ja dafür herhalten. Ich fange ja jetzt einfach mal an, einfach zu erzählen, ja alle Treffen waren einfach mit ihm, ja genau, und das und so weiter.
Und ja, safe, hier hat er tatsächlich einen Punkt. Es kann ja tatsächlich sein,
Logan Paul is now being investigated by the FBI. Turns out he's been trying to pretend that he doesn't know what's going on, and his lawyer is coming up with possibly the worst arguments humanly possible and kind of tanking his case for him. Apparently, CoffeeZilla is also friendly with the government, and the SEC is thanking him for reporting these people. Now, quick recap for people who don't follow the story. A while back, CoffeeZilla exposed Logan Paul for his crypto scams with a very popular YouTube series. And Logan Paul did the logical thing and, instead of just paying back the victims from CryptoZoo, the people that he actually scammed, he decided to sue CoffeeZilla for defamation, insisting that he is not a scammer. Okay, so since then, Logan Paul's scummy text messages also got leaked, basically showing that he was not suing CoffeeZilla because he thought he was defamed, but actually because he's a self-proclaimed petty billionaire who just wanted to ruin his life.
Paul also admitted that he's suing him just to make his life difficult. And he says Zilla will pay one way or another. I'll make sure of it. Bro, you're a billionaire. Paul responds with, a petty billionaire.
I wonder how the jury is going to react to that one.
Paul says, I want people who wronged me to suffer while I continue getting wins on their grave.
Ooh, no way Logan is using the word grave after the Japan forest incident. And that brings us to today. Logan Paul filed a motion of confidentiality trying to hide some sort of information that was very humiliating and embarrassing for him. But unfortunately for him, that information has actually come to light now. Shout out to YouTuber Legal Bites for this video, and let's just go over the whole story. Alrighty, subscribe or your kids have to eat lunch late for the rest of their lives. And let's begin with this video of Logan panicking about worse evidence getting out.
This information, Paul says, should remain confidential because it's too harmful and embarrassing to Paul. So in other words, forget about those scummy texts that we just saw. If you thought those made him look bad, it sounds like Logan Paul is way more worried about this information. He might end up being the one responsible for making this evidence public in the first place.
Yeah, Logan Paul just doesn't understand the Streisand effect. You cannot silence people like this, you can't silence a story like this, and you can't try to hide this information because it's always gonna come back to bite you. Especially when you are the one who tried to sue someone here. Obviously, all of your scummy bullshit is gonna come out in discovery. File this motion for confidentiality.
And so we really wouldn't have known that there was anything in here that Paul was really afraid of getting out. That is, until Logan Paul filed his motion to preserve confidentiality designations.
So it turns out the thing that's worse than the scummy text messages is that he's being investigated by the FBI and the SEC. And you know you're kind of cooked when the three-letter organizations are starting to investigate you.
Now we know that the evidence he desperately tried to keep secret was in fact a number of federal investigations by the SEC and FBI into the whole CryptoZoo team, including Logan Paul.
You told me I couldn't say anything because Eddie was being investigated by the FBI and that was confidential information. It's all over the internet. I've been let on for a year, bro. I've also asked you to audit the contract for the game and see where the money went so many times, and that never happened either. Do you see how this looks?
I see how it looks.
What did you do?
Tried to help to get the project done. That's all I did.
I think there's a piece of information being left out.
Yeah, I wonder who would leave out information here. This is hilarious. Logan having to pretend like he doesn't know what's going on. Yeah, guys, it's actually my team that did all the bad stuff. Everything that was remotely scummy or illegal or anything that involved a scam was just my team, guys. Nothing to do with me. I mean, look at me. I'm good guy Logan. I'm scolding my team over here. That probably means I'm innocent, right? I'm being so mean to them. I'm confronting them on the phone. And I love how he tries to say that his team is being investigated. Bro, you are also being investigated. You are this project. Your name was on it. You were promoting it. You definitely knew what was going on. And it's just so pathetic that it's even come to this. You couldn't just take accountability and pay back the CryptoZoo victims. You were bragging about making millions of dollars a day. And that's literally just how much you had to pay the CryptoZoo victims. I mean, let's not forget, this guy literally apologized and then did a complete 180. He decided that his ego was way too important and he just didn't bother following through with any of his promises. Then we learned that Coffee's actually the one who whistleblew to the FBI and the SEC.
Okay. Well, there's no information that I'm not telling you.
But now we've learned that Logan Paul himself was and is currently being investigated for allegedly defrauding CryptoZoo investors. And what's more, we now learned the identity of the whistleblower. Who else but CoffeeZilla himself?
Bro, Coffee is actually such a legend for this, and this is kind of the reason you know that Coffee was genuine in his intentions when he was exposing Logan Paul, because he didn't just make a YouTube video about it trying to get some quick views. He actually reported him to the FBI and the SEC, and he was actually trying to get legitimate justice and not just some weird attempt at defaming him. So now we get a bit of the timeline here. Basically, Coffee wants to combine the case of Logan suing him and CryptoZoo investors suing Logan, because both of those cases hinge on the same facts, right? Whether or not Logan is actually a scammer. And essentially, Logan is just crying to the court like, oh, this FBI investigation is not that important, and Coffee is just trying to embarrass me in the public.
First, there's CoffeeZilla's motion to transfer, which is where he's asking the court to transfer this case from San Antonio to Austin so it can be litigated closer to the CryptoZoo class action case. Paul filed a motion to preserve confidentiality. That's the motion that told all of us that Logan Paul was panicking over this evidence getting out. In it, Paul pointed all kinds of fingers at CoffeeZilla, claiming that he included those sealed exhibits in his motion to transfer for no legitimate reason, and that he did it just to harm and embarrass Paul to the court.
Really? You think Coffee would risk his entire life and reputation just to embarrass Logan Paul? I mean, if he just wanted to humiliate and embarrass him, he would just talk about this publicly. The fact that we had to literally find this information out through some weird legal documents and a lawyer YouTuber covering the story means that he wasn't trying to humiliate Logan at all. And frankly, I don't think Coffee needs to embarrass Logan at all. This guy's reputation is already in the gutter. There's not much more he could possibly do. He'd probably have to go to Japan and film another dead body. That would probably make people hate him more. So pretty dumb argument by Logan in my opinion.
This, Paul says, was by all appearances a deliberate attempt to advance a false narrative to the federal government. Okay, right off the bat, deliberate false accusations to the government come with very serious penalties, so that is a very heavy accusation made by Paul here.
Yeah, apparently everybody is just after Logan Paul. Nobody wants to do legitimate critique. The world revolves around Logan Paul. Everybody's just trying to embarrass him. Dude, get over yourself. You're not that important. And the thing is, he's not even important to Coffee, because apparently Coffee does this stuff all the time. He whistleblows a lot of people to these organizations, and some of them actually end up getting arrested as well. So he's basically the local janitor just taking the trash out and giving pieces of shit like Logan what they deserve. And don't get me wrong, it takes a long while, but eventually karma does find its way. Now this next part, Logan's lawyers deliver possibly the worst argument ever.
The reason that Findeisen misled the government so brazenly, of course, was that his goal was to prompt the government to investigate and build cases against plaintiffs specifically, whom he had never even spoken to about the project, in order to further harm plaintiff and, he hoped, ultimately claim credit and raise his own profile in the event the investigations resulted in criminal charges or civil penalties against him. And basically what he's getting at is Paul claims that CoffeeZilla didn't give the government any information about any other bad actors on the CryptoZoo team, like Eddie Ibanez and Jake Greenbaum. And he says that because of that, CoffeeZilla was sending the government down this rabbit hole to focus specifically on Logan Paul and to ignore everyone else on the CryptoZoo team.
So real quick, just going over this part again, in order to further harm plaintiff, and he hoped that ultimately he'll claim credit and raise his own profile in the event the investigations resulted in criminal charges or civil penalties against him. So this clown is actually saying that CoffeeZilla reported Logan to the government because he wanted to raise his own profile if Logan was found guilty and got criminal charges or civil penalties. So Logan's lawyers are basically admitting, like, okay, maybe Logan might be guilty, but Coffee only did this to raise his own reputation and not actually catch Logan in a crime. So they're saying Coffee is not exactly wrong, but his intentions were wrong, apparently. Bro, that is the worst argument I've ever seen. Who is this guy's lawyer? My God. Put that meme, this is my lawyer, I'm cooked, boys. This is embarrassing. You're literally throwing your own client under the bus. Now, the person who made this video, Legal Bites, is a lawyer too, right? And she talks about how she didn't even make this video for a long time because she wanted to make sure she got Logan's argument properly, because Logan's side was so stupid that it literally did not make any sense and she was so confused.
I may or may not have been sitting on this video a little bit longer than I should have rather than moving forward to publish it, in part because I've been trying to wrap my mind around this argument. Throughout my career as a litigator, I have often found myself in moments of pause when reading someone else's legal arguments that don't quite click for me. And the dilemma always is, am I just not understanding the other side's argument? Am I maybe clouded by something like bias maybe that's keeping me from seeing the other side clearly? Or does this argument just really suck that bad? But anyway, all of that is to say, I think I've landed in the place that this argument by Logan Paul, where he says that CoffeeZilla misled the government and essentially did it for clicks and to claim credit in the event the investigations resulted in criminal charges, is just a really bad argument. Like, I'm sorry, but to me, it just does not make sense. Setting aside the fact that CoffeeZilla showed in response that he did, in fact, provide a bunch of